What can ancient writings tell us about the human quest for meaning? For centuries, sacred texts have served as pillars of faith and history. Yet within their weathered pages lie corridors of inquiry that continue to fascinate scholars and thinkers alike. These are not stories of secrets or forbidden knowledge, but of profound questions that have echoed through time, inviting us to look deeper. The journey of these ancient narratives is a remarkable story in itself. Before the age of printing, every manuscript was a work of immense dedication, meticulously copied by hand. Scribes worked in quiet scriptoriums, preserving words on papyrus and parchment. Historical records indicate that this transmission process was complex. Each copy, a link in a long chain, carried the potential for subtle variations, reflecting the humanity of its scribe and the era in which it was created. Scholars observe that understanding these texts requires us to consider the vast distances of time and culture that separate us from their origins. The world they were born into was vastly different from our own, and the context in which they were written is a critical field of academic study. Over millennia, the survival of these documents has been a battle against time. Many ancient writings have reached us only as fragments, pieced together from archaeological discoveries. Some texts exist in multiple versions, discovered in different locations and dating to different periods. For example, documents found in desert caves offer versions of texts that differ slightly from those that became standard over centuries. These variations are not seen by scholars as contradictions, but as invaluable windows into the early stages of a text's life. They illustrate a fluid and living tradition, where narratives were carefully preserved, yet also subject to the natural evolution of copying and transmission. This challenges us to think not of a single, static original, but of a dynamic stream of tradition. One of the most compelling aspects of these writings is their use of symbolic language. Ancient authors often communicated through metaphor, allegory, and layered imagery. This was a common literary technique of the time, designed to convey concepts that transcended simple, literal description. Some interpretations suggest that a single passage could hold multiple layers of meaning, intended for different levels of understanding. This symbolic richness is not a code to be broken, but an invitation to contemplation. It allows each generation to find new relevance and insight within the same words. The texts don't just state facts. They paint pictures, evoke emotions, and pose existential questions, using language that resonates on a deeper, more intuitive level. The historical context surrounding these writings also presents a landscape of ongoing inquiry. Historians and archaeologists work to piece together the world in which these texts were formed. They examine artifacts, cross-reference accounts with other historical records, and analyze the social and political structures of the time. For instance, scholars continue to investigate the precise timeline of certain events and the biographies of key figures mentioned in the texts. These are not efforts to disprove or validate, but to enrich our understanding. Each discovery, whether a potsherd or a newly deciphered inscription, adds another piece to an immense and fascinating puzzle. The academic debate is vibrant, with new theories and evidence constantly refining our perspective on the ancient world. So why do so many questions about these ancient texts persist? The answer may lie in their very nature. We are looking back across thousands of years, through layers of translation, cultural shifts, and the simple decay of physical materials. The distance is immense. Furthermore, the writings themselves are often addressing the most complex aspects of human existence: the nature of the divine, the purpose of life, and the foundation of morality. Such subjects resist simple, definitive answers. The texts invite a dialogue, a wrestling with ideas that is meant to be ongoing. Perhaps their enduring power comes not from providing all the answers, but from compelling us to keep asking the questions. The uncertainty is not a flaw. It is a feature that fuels continuous reflection and discovery. In this space of questioning, there is a unique kind of value. The absence of certainty invites humility and wonder. It encourages us to approach these ancient narratives not as simple instruction manuals, but as profound works of literary and spiritual art that reflect the deepest yearnings of the human spirit. The mysteries they contain are not problems to be solved, but spaces for personal reflection to unfold. They create a common ground where people from all walks of life can engage in a shared journey of intellectual and spiritual exploration. The quest for understanding becomes as meaningful as the understanding itself. In a world that often demands quick and easy answers, the patience required to sit with these ancient questions is a profound practice. If you find this journey into the depths of history and thought compelling, consider joining our community of curious minds. By subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments, you help us continue this exploration. Every perspective adds a new dimension to the conversation. Thank you for being a part of it. As we stand at the edge of this vast intellectual landscape, we are left with a final contemplative thought. What if the ultimate purpose of these enduring writings is not to close the book on mystery, but to ensure it remains open for every generation to explore anew?